Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to give just a few minutes before we get started to allow some more folks to hop on, and then here right at noon, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so I have that it is 12 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. This is the first of our digital literacy webinar series. This is going to be a 10-week series where we are going to be utilizing some curriculum that was developed by AT&T in partnership with the ARC of the United States as well as the ARC of San Francisco. We're going to start with the very, very basics and work our way up to some more advanced topics such as staying safe from scams and exploitation, as well as digital citizenship. These will be every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time, and we will be recording these webinars and also putting them on the Arc of Indiana's YouTube page. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This is a webinar, so you are not visible on camera, and you are also muted. If you have any questions at any time, you can raise your hand and we can allow you to speak, or you can feel free to put your question in either the chat or the Q&A box, which are down at the bottom of your screen. I am Becky Shields. I am the Director of Advocacy Programs at the ARC of Indiana, and I am going to be one of your trainers today.
And I am Sean Fulton. I am the Advocacy, Engagement, and Education Manager for the ARC of Indiana.
So thank you so much again for joining us today, and let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about computer basics. We're going to start by learning about what operating systems are, and we're also going to do some skill building. So we're going to talk about your computer desktop, how to find it, how to navigate it, how to organize your files and folders, how to save them, how to delete them, how to recover them from the recycle bin if you've accidentally deleted them. We're also going to talk about managing your window and display settings of an application. We're also going to give some overall tips for using a PC, and we're going to do some practice. So this is for the Windows 10 operating system. AT&T does also have a module for Windows 11 as well as iOS, which is the Mac operating system. We will be covering the Mac operating system during next week's webinar. But if your computer uses Windows 11, you can also go to the AT&T Digital Literacy website and follow those modules. So for the introduction, just a little bit of an icebreaker. Feel free to go ahead and put in the chat what types of things do you want to do with your computer, or also what kind of things do you use your computer for already? And feel free to put that in the chat, or if you prefer to come off of mute, you can raise your hand. Sean, do you want to share a little bit about how you use your computer?
Yeah, sure. So I just use my computer just strictly for work. I use it for meetings and video conferencing um, with staff here at work. And then for my councils and commissions, we do a lot of virtual meetings. So we do meetings through that on my computer.
Yeah. We've got an answer here in the chat. Jake says that he uses his computer for Zoom meetings and stuff. So a lot of the same types of things that you use your computer for, Sean. Um, I use my computer to shop, so I shop online a lot. Um, so that's another use for the computer using the internet. Some people may use their computer to play games, send emails, shop online, like I mentioned, or even watch videos like Netflix or YouTube videos or movies on Disney Plus, things like that. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. So, an operating system is the software that handles the functions of the computer to make sure that everything is working together. It operates a little bit like the brain. So, just the same way that your brain makes sure that your heart's beating, that you're breathing, that all the systems of your body are functioning, the operating system of a computer manage the functions of the computer to make sure that everything is working together. So, like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking specifically about Windows 10. So, some of these images that we're going to have on the slides may look slightly different than what your computer looks like. If you use Windows 11 or you use a Mac, the images will look slightly different. Again, the Windows 11, there is a module on the AT&T's digital literacy website, and we will be covering Mac next week. So, working from the desktop, this is what a Windows 10 desktop looks like. There are different sections of the desktop. We are going to kind of identify what each of these are, but I wanted to just give you a kind of view of what a normal desktop may look like. This is actually a very clean desktop. I know mine has a lot of extra folders saved on the desktop, so mine looks a little bit cluttered, but that just goes to show you a desktop is just like a desk. Right? Some people have very neat and tidy desks, and some people have a little bit more cluttered desks, but it's just like a desk. It's where you keep different folders with files in them. It helps you, it has other tools that you may need to get work done, such as a calculator, a calendar. You can even have post-its on your Windows desktop. And this just helps you get your work done. So going back to this image of the desktop, I want to show you some of the key features. So right here in the orange square, that is the taskbar. The taskbar is located at the bottom of the screen. It also has shortcut icons for commonly used applications. So if you see there where my cursor is, if you can see that, there's a little blue envelope that would be for email. There's a file folder. That's where you would go to any files that are saved on your computer. And this bluish green swirl, that is the logo for Microsoft Edge, which is an internet browser. I want to focus a little bit more closely on the bottom right of the taskbar. So this has information like the date and time. It also shows if you are connected to Wi-Fi, if your computer is plugged in and charging, as well as the volume. Um, do we have any questions? I thought I saw something pop up, but it might have been an answer to my previous. message.
I
Let's
don't
see.
see any.
Okay. Thank you, Sean, for keeping an eye on that for me.
So, Becky, question.
Yeah.
So, in the icon where the internet icon is, so what
hmm
happens if it's red?
If it's red, that likely means that you are not connected to the internet. So either there is a problem with your modem, with your internet provider. Sometimes a big gust of wind comes down and knocks out internet. That actually happened at my house last night. Or it might mean that you need to select a Wi-Fi network to log on to. And you can do that by clicking on those arcs right here. This is the Wi-Fi symbol. If you click on that, it will show you what networks are available and you can sign on that way. Good question. All right, so moving to the next slide here. We're going to talk a little bit about applications. So, applications are tools that allow you to do things on your computer. So, on the screen right now are three icons for some pretty commonly used applications. First is Microsoft Word. That is where you can type out Word documents, Word papers. It's kind of like a notebook in some ways where you can write down your thoughts and then save them to put into a file. We also have the icon for Microsoft Edge, which, like I said, is a internet browser. It allows you to access the internet. And then we also have the icon for the calculator, which is something that is on your taskbar that you can use if you need to do some quick math, if you need to add something, subtract something, anything you would use a typical calculator for, the calculator on your Windows 10 operating system can do as well. If you are looking for a specific file application computer setting, the taskbar also has a search function. So, right near the bottom left, if you're using Windows 11, it'll be in the bottom center of your taskbar. There is something with a little magnifying glass that says type here to search. And you can type in there exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for a music player. So if you want to listen to iTunes, you can search for iTunes in there and pull it up. If you're looking for your sticky notes, you can type in there and search that. And we actually have an example on this next slide. So in this example, we're searching for a to-do list. So this is actually a specific Word document that someone created. So if you they typed in their to-do list and then they were able to pull up some search results that showed a party planning to-do list. So this is what a Word document looks like. I know the text is small. You don't need to read what's on the actual document. We just wanted to show you a little bit about what it looks like to have Word open. Also on your taskbar, you will have the Windows icon. It is shaped like four rectangles, kind of at a little bit of at a slant. Um, the taskbar will usually have your most commonly used applications saved on it, but it also might not have every single application. So if you're looking for a specific application and you don't see it down there on the taskbar, so for example, on this window, we just have Microsoft Edge, file folders, and email. So you could click on this Windows icon and that will open up the start menu. And this is another way to open applications. So when you click on the Windows icon, it launches the start menu. And the start menu allows you to see all of the applications that are on your computer. So if it's an application that is downloaded to your computer, it will be in the start menu. You can see here that they are alphabetized. So it goes from A to Z. Also within your start menu is the account settings. So you can't, oh, excuse me, the power menu, which is used to restart your computer, shut it down, or put it into sleep mode. And then I was getting ahead of myself talking about the account. So this is what is used to sign out of your account, lock your account, or change settings that are unique to your account on the computer. So there may be some situations where you share a computer. That could be with your siblings, with your roommates. If you're at a public library using a public computer, you may have an account that one computer that has multiple accounts. So if Sean and I shared a computer, there would be an account for Sean and there would be an account for me. And when I'm done with it, I want to make sure that I sign out so that Sean can sign into his account. So I've already covered here that the start menu shows what applications are available on the computer. Like I said, it'll be an A to Z alphabetical list. And when you're done using the start menu and you're ready to close it, all you'll have to do is click on that Windows icon again, and then the start menu will go back. It's closed. Any questions about the start menu? And I know some of this may be really basic stuff that you all already know. We're starting from the beginning so we can build a really strong foundation with our computer skills.
So, question. So, would a desktop these days, would that be the laptop?
Yes, that's a really great question. So, when I say desktop, I don't mean the specific computer you're on. I mean what shows on the screen when you're looking at your computer monitor. So, back in the olden days, back in Sean and I's days, before laptops were so popular, there actually used to be a computer that stayed on the desk at all times. It was a big honking thing that you couldn't just put in your work bag and move. And they also called that a desktop. But when we're in this training and we're talking about the desktop, we're talking about what you see on your computer screen when you open it. So laptops have a desktop as well. That can
So,
be a little
I
bit confusing. So thanks for asking that, Sean.
Yeah, I have another question.
Yeah.
So it's confusing me because the four little window things is at that corner on this slide, but
Hmm.
mine is in the middle of my computer on the
Yeah.
screen. So
So the reason why that is because this PowerPoint that AT&T developed is specific to Windows 10. And Sean, your and our work computers operate on Windows 11. So it's the same stuff, it's just in a slightly different place. So if you remember, I was talking about how the search bar is in a slightly different place on Windows 11 as well. It's located in the middle bottom of the screen rather than the bottom left. If you are looking at your computer and it's not looking quite like the photos that are on these slides, I really would encourage you to go to AT&T's digital literacy um, website. They have a module about Windows 11. A lot of it is exactly the same, but there are just a few slight differences, like where the start button, the Windows button, and the search bar are. All right, I'm not seeing any hands or questions, so I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide, continuing to talk about working from the desktop. So there are a couple of different ways to open an application. You can double click on the icon on the desktop. You can click, so double click meaning click twice. single click, you can click once on the icon on the taskbar at the bottom of the screen. You can also do a single click from the start menu. So you can open the start menu, go to that alphabetized list, and just click once. Or you can search from the search box. So you can search, for example, if you were trying to open up Microsoft Word, you'd go to that search box, type in WORD, and then you can select from the search results there. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about files and folders. So a file is a package of information, and is true in outside of the computer space as well as in your computer, right? We all have, or maybe we don't all have, but I have some actual physical files here on my desk. But I also have files on my computer. And what they are is just a package of information, different Word documents, different notes, information that I need to be able to do my job. And then applications are software or tools that allow you to perform tasks. Some applications allow you to work on text documents like Microsoft Word. Others might allow you to edit pictures like Photoshop, watch videos, listen to music. I mentioned iTunes earlier. That's an application that allows you to listen to music and podcasts or access the internet. So, the internet browser that they're talking about in this PowerPoint is Microsoft Edge, but I'm sure a lot of us have heard of Google Chrome. That's the internet browser I use, or there's Safari as well. And those are all different types of applications that let you do a specific thing. And just like there are different ways to open applications, there is more than one way to open a file. So you again can double click on the desktop icon or in the taskbar start menu. You can also search for the file using the search box. You can click on the taskbar icon or you can select it from the start menu. Anytime you open a file, it will open inside a related software application. So, what that means is a few slides back, we showed that party planning file. It was a Word document, it was a text document, it was words on paper. So, it opened up in Word. It wouldn't have opened up in iTunes because it's not a song, it's a Word document. So your computer will know what type of application to open the file in. There are also folders, and folders are a method for storing and organizing files that can just help you keep a little more organized and keep your desktop from looking too cluttered. Just like you would use a folder to organize loose sheets of paper, you would use a folder on your computer to organize files. So here on this desktop, we do see that there is a folder called Celine's Documents. And if we were to double click twice on that, it would open up the folder. So the folder is now open. It's showing you the files inside. Um, and again, if we were going to select the end of year party document, right, there's um, we saw earlier that she's planning a party and we looked at a to-do list, but this time we're going to look at the end of year party document. And this is actually, we would double click on that and in Word, it would open up an email, a little bit of a letter, not an email, a letter to the parents inviting them to the end of year party. So, looking at this desktop that we have right here, how would we open the file school party budget? You can see it right here. It's got a little sheet of paper with a green X. That means it's an Excel file. If I wanted to open this, how would I do so? Does anyone want to come off mute and tell me how I could open that or put it in the chat? All right, I'm not seeing it. Sean, can you help us out? How would I open this file?
Double click.
Double click. That's right. So if I double click on it, then we open up the end of year party budget. This is another application. So Excel is an application that helps you create spreadsheets. This is really helpful when you're dealing with numbers and math. So
So,
now,
question, actually.
yes, Sean.
So, I'm sure some people may want to know this, but is there a time that you have to get rid of stuff out of your folder, or can you put more stuff in it than you think?
So, based on the storage, that's an excellent question. Based on how much storage you have on your computer, you may need to delete files at some point in time. Um, it would be a lot of files before you kind of fill up your computer. And we will talk. You're getting ahead of me, and I love it um, because it means that we're going in the right direction. But we will talk about how to delete files and we'll also talk about how to save files. So if you're running out of space on your computer, there are actually something called a USB drive that looks a little bit like this. It's just like a little small rectangle, and you can actually store computer files on this, and we will talk all about that. Before we move to talking about how to save and delete files, I'm actually going to exit out of this PowerPoint because the next thing I want to talk about with you all is about Windows. Um, so I actually have this budget on my computer as well, and I want to show you how to change the size of your window. So, for example, right now, you can't really see anything. You can see second grade end of year party budget, but you can't see any of the information. There's a couple of ways that we can change the size of this window. The first, if I take my mouse and put it at the bottom, I can click and drag to make it bigger. So you can use that as one way to make a document bigger, the window bigger. You can also do that on the sides to change the size of your window. And you can also do it in the corners to change the size of your windows. The other option here is if you look at the top right corner, there are three different shapes. I'm looking at the shape right in the middle, which is a big square. And if you click that, it will actually make your window full screen, which means it takes up the entirety of your screen. If that is too big and you want to go back, you'll now see that there's a series of smaller squares in the middle. Click that and it takes it back to its size before. If I wanted to have two documents open at the same time, so for example, we're working on this second grade end of year party budget, maybe I want to have that end of year letter as up to. So I opened up the letter from my taskbar. but it's a little too big. So I'm going to minimize it or make restore back to the first size. And I'm going to click and drag to make it smaller. Now I can pull it over here and I'm able to see both documents at the same time. When your windows are small like this, you'll also have some slide bars as well that will help you see all of the content. You can just click and drag those to help you see what is inside your window. But I'm getting older, my eyesight's not so good, so I actually want this to be full screen. And when you're in a Word document, in the bottom right hand, there actually is a zoom feature. So I can click here and zoom, and that's a lot easier to read, isn't it? The other option here, we talked about the maximize the full screen and the restore. There's also just a simple white line. When you click on that, it sends the documents to the taskbar. So now, if I wanted to open them back again, I'd go to Word, single click, and then it's right back up where it started. And then finally, the last option here is the X. And when you click on the X, first it will ask if you want to save anything, and then it will exit out of the application. Any questions about how you can move the size of the windows, minimizing, maximizing, and the zoom function on Word? All right, then. So we've just talked about different ways to change the size of the window. So I'm going to move forward a little bit because we've covered all of this. All right. Now, it's time to talk about saving and closing files. So, like I said, the top right icon at in your window is a little X, and that is how you exit out of things. It will ask you if you'd like to save first. This is so that you don't lose any progress or changes that you've made on your file while you've been working on it. So in the example here, if we are finished and working in the budget in this Excel document, we need to save our work before closing the file. This file has been saved before, and we want to keep the same file name and location. So all we would need to do is click right here on at the Save button. And for example, some Microsoft applications will actually save as you go. It's something called autosave. Um, if autosave is on, there's a little toggle switch that is in the top left-hand corner, and it will say on. If for some reason you don't want your document to automatically save, you can click and it will turn off. And then the toolbar of your document will show you if it is saved or not saved. So because we clicked that save button, it is saved. But if you need to save a file for the first time, it's not quite as simple as clicking the save button. If you are saving a file for the first time, you will first click File, and then you will click Save As. After you click Save As, the Save As window will open, and this allows you to choose where on your computer you'd like to save the file. In this case, we're going to save on the desktop, so you can click on desktop, and then it will also allow you to enter a name for the file. So, for example, let's just go ahead. We're going to name this school party budget. You'll type that in there. We're saving it to the desktop, and then we would hit save. You can also use the navigation pane on the left to choose a different location for your file if you didn't want to save it on the desktop. If there was another folder that you wanted to save it to, you could look here under other locations and click browse. This would allow you to look at the different folders you have on your computer where you could save the file. I would just encourage you to make sure that you're saving it in a location that is easy to remember. You don't want to forget where you saved it because then it's going to be difficult to find the next time you need to work on it. There may be times when you want to save a file in multiple places on your computer. So if you wanted to save it to a different location on your computer, you can also save a copy. So you would click here, save a copy, and this would open a save a copy window. This allows you, again, just like with Save As, you are able to select where the saved file will be located on the computer. So in this example, let's go ahead and save it to the Documents folder. So we'll click on this PC, and then that opens up a file, and you can then click Documents. Again, you can change the name if you want. Let's go ahead and keep it the same as school party budget. And once we have that entered, then we can click save. And the file is now saved to a new folder. If you use a public computer, I use the example of going to the public library, for example. There probably are going to be restrictions on if you're able to save files to the actual computer, which is when a USB drive or a flash drive would come really in handy. This is a common way to save files when you're using a public computer, or like to Sean's point, if you're running out of space on your computer and you need some external storage, a USB drive is a great alternative. It has it's kind of difficult to see, but there's some grooves here, and you would plug it into the side of your computer. And then when you open up the file Explorer, excuse me, it would show as a USB drive, and you would just click and save there. So now that we've saved the file, it's time we can close it. And a refresher to close any documents, you just click the X in the right top hand corner. Any questions about saving a file?
I don't about the saving the file, but I am going to mention that it's really good to have, I think it's really good to have two screens just because when you open multiple things, you don't have to keep going out of them
Mhm.
and making sure that you with two screens, you can make sure that you have the one document that you're typing on or whatever you need to look at, and then copying from the other screen that you have. Because working in a job where you need more than one screen is good for that, or even if you just want one at home.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably don't know this that's on here. You can make your TV at home a part of your computer because all you need is an HDMI cord. I use my TV when I work from home as a screen for my computer.
Yeah, that's a really good kind of tip, Sean. I'd never even thought about using an HDMI cord to make my TV an extra screen. Um, so what Sean said means when he says two screens. Sean and I are both examples of we have multiple monitors. So we have more than one screen on our desk. So throughout this webinar series, you may see me look over to the side and not looking directly into the camera. That's because I'm looking at my screen over here. So I'm able to have on one side the PowerPoint slides and everything that I'm showing to you all, but I'm also able to look at my notes. I'm able to look at the chat, the question and answer box, make sure that no one has their hand raised. I'm able to see all of that in one place. And actually, I realize I haven't pulled those back over without you all seeing them because I have multiple screens. Thanks, Sean, for that tip.
You're welcome.
All right. So, deleting files. When you need to delete something, you will use the recycle bin, which is located on the desktop. The icon for it looks just like a recycle bin like you might have at your home or in your office. It's a little bin with the recycle symbol on it. So, using an example again of Celine's documents folders, we've been looking at her party planning to-do list. We've been looking at her letter inviting people to the party. We've been looking at her budget. But let's say that there are some files in that folder that we want to delete. First of all, we want to open that folder from the desktop. So again, how do you open that folder?
Double click.
Double click. Thank you, Sean. Double click it, and now the folder is open. Um, to delete a file, you would move your cursor or your mouse, that little arrow that moves around the screen as you move your mouse or move your finger along the trackpad if you're using a laptop. Move your cursor to the file that you want to delete. So in this example, we're deleting the to-do list end of year party. And so we are going to click on it and drag it from the file folder to the recycle bin on the desktop. You also can delete a file by clicking once to select it. So if we wanted to delete the library picture, we would click once. And then on our keyboard, we would hit the delete key. This is just an example of a keyboard. The delete key may be in a different place on your keyboard, but it will have either DEL, the first three letters of the word delete, or it may even have the entire word delete. So if you want to delete things without dragging them to the recycle bin, you will click once and then hit delete. So now that the library picture and the to-do list file have both been deleted, they do not show in Celine's folder. They are inside the recycle bin. And if you remember before when I showed you the icon for the recycle bin, it was empty. Now it looks like we've got some paper in there because we've deleted some files. Um, the recycle bin is a temporary holding place for your deleted files. So once you move things to the recycle bin, they aren't immediately deleted. You still can take things out of the recycle bin. Just like if you were working at your desk and you accidentally put a piece of paper in the trash that you didn't mean to, you can go and grab it and take it out of the trash. This recycle bin, those files we just deleted, are going to stay in there until we delete and empty the recycle bin. So if you wanted to open the recycle bin, just like any other icon on the desktop, you would double click. So now we see the two things we just deleted, the to-do list for the end of the year party and the library. And so we see the files that are in the recycle bin. If we decided we wanted to keep a file after we placed it in the recycle bin, um, it's the same process that we use to move it to. We can left click on the file and hold the button down to drag the file back to the desktop, or you could even click and drag it right back into the folder that you deleted it from. So in this example, though, we clicked, dragged it back to the desktop. So now we have the to-do list for the end of year party. It is no longer in the recycle bin, it's back on the desktop. So, like I mentioned, things stay in the recycle bin until they are deleted. There is a couple of different ways to empty the recycle bin. The first way is to move your cursor, your mouse, over the recycle bin icon and then right click. When you right click, there will be some options that pop up here. And the first one says empty recycle bin. So if you click that, then it will empty the recycle bin. You also can double click to open the recycle bin. And then in the task manager here, there is actually under the file, there is a button that says empty recycle bin, and you can do so there. You will be asked when you empty the recycle bin, you're going to get a pop up that asks, are you sure you permanently want to delete these files? That's just to make sure that you don't accidentally permanently delete something that you may need later. So before you click yes, it's a good idea to kind of look over what's in the recycle bin, make sure it really is stuff that you do not need and you won't need again. But then once you click yes, those files are deleted and the recycle bin is emptied. All right. Any questions about the recycle bin and emptying or retrieving items from it after they've been moved there?
So after you remove it from the recycle bin, and it's like a couple days later, and you realize you needed something out of there, so is
Mhm.
there not a way to get the stuff back?
To my knowledge, no. That doesn't mean that if you have, like, so we have IT people who work our for the Arc of Indiana who help us with computer issues. There may be a way that they can retrieve it, but there's nothing that could be done by you, to my knowledge. I'm not a computer whiz by any means, But essentially, once something is deleted from the recycle bin, it's just gone. That's why it's so important when you get that verification pop up that says, "Are you sure you want to permanently delete this?" You really make sure that you're not going to be deleting anything you need because once it's gone, it's gone.
Or that's why you should make a copy and have a paper copy.
Yeah, that's a good idea as well. All right. So, in the last kind of 10 minutes here, we're going to review some tips for using a PC, and then we're going to go over some review questions just to kind of review what we've learned in these 50 minutes together. Um, so, remember that the desktop and taskbar are useful tools to access common applications and documents. The task view allows you to see all the open windows at one time. Folders help you organize files. The search box allows you to quickly locate folders and documents. You can restore documents from the recycle bin, but only if nobody has emptied it. So, we are going to move to these review questions here. If you'd like to answer, feel free to put the answer in the chat, or you can raise your hand to come off of mute if you prefer. Or we can just have Sean be our guinea pig and make him answer every question. Um, the first question we have here is if you want to open an application on the desktop, what do you need to do? Double click the icon, single click the icon, or drag the icon into the trash. So, Sean, before you answer, let's see if anyone has wants to raise their hand or wants to put something in chat. We'll give them a little bit of time before I let you answer. All right, Sean, why don't you give us that answer?
You double click.
That is correct. You double click the icon on the desktop. Next review question. If you wanted to minimize the window currently open on your screen, as shown in this photo, which icon would you click? So remember, minimizing is making the folder go away and into the taskbar.
Nobody wants to guess?
We might have a shy group, and that's okay. We'll get to know each other well over these 10 weeks if you all come back and for every single one, or if you just hop in for a few of these webinars. All
Okay,
right,
well,
Sean.
it's the line that looks, or it's the icon that looks like a line at the top of the side of the window.
That's right. It's that little line icon that's in the top right side of the window. Very good. All right. And then say we want to actually close the window, excuse me. What icon will we click to close this window?
Okay.
Sean,
It's
why don't you
the
go ahead?
Yeah. It's the icon that looks like an X.
Very good. Thank you. All right. If you want to save a document, which icon do you click?
You can click the menu or click the save icon?
That's right. Very good. So you can either go to File and click Save from the File menu, or there is a Save icon that you can click. And then I believe this next one is our final review question. If you accidentally delete a file, where can you find and retrieve it?
You would click the uh, recycle icon.
Yep, exactly. You would double click that recycle bin icon to open it up, and then you can drag the file you want to retrieve back to the desktop. All right, great job. Congratulations, everyone. We've made it through module one. So happy that we were able to have you all here today. I know that some of this may have seemed a little overwhelming. Some of it may have seemed too basic for some of you. I appreciate you sticking out with us through all of it. So today we did learn what an operating system is, the skills you need to use the Windows 10 operating system, including finding and navigating the desktop, how to organize your files and folders, how to manage the windows of an application on your computer screen, as well as saving and closing files, and what to do when you are ready to delete files or if you have accidentally deleted a file you did not mean to. We also covered some basic tips for using Windows 10. So this training is provided AT&T in partnership with the Public Library Association, the Arc of the United States, and the Arc of San Francisco have helped create this digital literacy curriculum that we used. Like I said, if you are someone who uses Windows 11, there is a module on their website that does cover the Windows 11 operating system if you'd like to work your way through those. Next week, we will be meeting at the same time, Tuesday at noon Eastern Time, and we will be covering the Mac operating system. Thank you for joining us. If you could, please scan the QR code on your screen to take a short survey just to help Sean and I improve, and so that we know if there's anything else we need to cover next time. I'll leave you to scan this QR code and take the surveys, but also if you have any final questions, feel free to raise your hand, put them in the Q&A, or come put it in the chat box there. Oops, I'm sorry. All right. When you are finished, if with the survey, if you don't have any more questions, feel free to go ahead and pop off. Sean and I will stay on a little bit longer. We'll stay on until 1 p.m. just to make sure that there are no unanswered questions and to keep that QR code. But if you are finished with the survey, you are more than welcome to hop off. Thank you so much for joining us today.